Is there a bigger liar than Jay Inslee? Is there a bigger liar than Jay Inslee?
At what point are you going to tell the people of Washington State that they're going to possibly see much higher gas prices next year because of the CO2 emissions tax?
Well, that's not true. They are not going to see much higher gas prices, maybe even lower than they are today.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
So the fundamental reason I support the initiative repealing the CCA is Governor Inslee is a liar.
This is going to have minimal impact, if any, pennies. We're talking about pennies, potentially. Not all of this would be passed off to the consumers.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
And those are not the only lies that Governor Inslee has told. His lies are extending into the effort to defeat Initiative 2117. And make no mistake, it isn't about the Climate Commitment Act. It isn't about making sure that this wonderful climate policy that's absolutely going to help the planet remains intact. No, this is selfishness from him. This is about protecting his legacy, and it's about protecting the money that he's going to make by folding himself into the climate industrial complex after he leaves office in 2025. So this is the No on 2117 campaign. It says, protect our air and water, forests and farmland, jobs and transportation investments. Vote no on Initiative 2117. We can't afford it. Let me fix that for them and tell you what they really mean by that. When they say protect our air and water, forests and farmland, jobs and transportation improvements, what they really mean is protect Jay Inslee's legacy. When they say we can't afford it, what they really mean is Jay can't afford it. Because if you get rid of his climate policy that he holds so near and dear as the climate governor and the climate presidential candidate, if you get rid of that, if you strip him of that legacy, well, maybe it's not as easy as for him to find a job in the climate sector that was created, a job that exists because of climate policy that he pushed through. So that's really what they mean. But let's get deeper into the dishonesty, shall we? And remember, it's all self-serving. This is a fundraising email that was sent out for the No on 2117 campaign. Hi, it's Governor Inslee. Have you seen who's funding Initiative 2117, the initiative to allow more pollution in Washington? See for yourself. It's a clown car of far-right, anti-climate millionaires. This race comes down to right-wing millionaires versus everyday Washingtonians. And in it, he includes this picture of the top 5 contributors to Let's Go Washington, which of course is behind all of the initiatives. Keep in mind what they're pushing there. This race comes down to right-wing millionaires versus everyday Washingtonians. So what they're painting this as is rich people are trying to get rid of the Climate Commitment Act, and everyday Washingtonians are trying to keep it. Let's see if the fundraising numbers bear that out, shall we? Okay, right now, yes on 2117. So that's the position I take. Yes on 2117, yes on repealing the CCA, has raised $1.2 million. And I put an asterisk next to that because that's not specifically to support 2117. That's to support all 6 initiatives. So there's one pool of money to support all 6 initiatives. And it has raised $1.2 million. Contrast that with the No on 2117 campaign, which is its own committee. They have raised more than $5 million just to oppose the repeal of the Climate Commitment Act. Interesting. That's so strange because we were led to believe by Jay Inslee in that fundraising email that it's right-wing millionaires and they're just throwing all sorts of money at this, but they're being outspent 5-1. Okay, all right. Well, maybe that's fine, right? Maybe that's fine. Maybe it's regular Washingtonians who are donating, a lot in small figures. Maybe it's just a lot of Washingtonians who are throwing $10, $100 to try to keep this wonderful climate policy. And maybe that's why they've raised more than $5 million. That could be, right? Yeah. Let's take a look, shall we, at the contributors? Top 4 contributors for each. All right, so yes on 2117 to repeal the Climate Commitment Act. Let's see, Kemper Holdings donated $100,000, George Rowley $100,000, George Petrie $100,000, Steve Gordon $50,000. Okay, those are substantial amounts of money. Yeah, so maybe those are right-wing millionaires just trying to ruin the environment for everyone. Let's go look at the top 4 donors on the no on 2117, which of course is just regular Washingtonians, right? Regular Washingtonians trying to protect the environment. Let's see, Chris Stolte, $1 million. Bill Gates, $1 million. Sarah Murner, $500,000. Craig McKibben, $500,000. So when it comes to the amounts that rich people are donating for the yes on 2117 and no on 2117 campaigns, there is no comparison. Jay Inslee is painting the initiative to repeal the CCA as funded by right-wing, dangerous millionaires who are pushing a bunch of money at it. Meanwhile, he's got Bill Gates outspending them 10 to 1 by donating $1 million. Chris Stolte outspending them 10 to 1 by donating $1 million. But, that money good? Liberal rich people, good. Conservative rich people, bad, evil. And again, let me remind you, let's just revisit the fundraising email that Governor Inslee sent out. Hi, it's Governor Inslee. Have you seen who's funding Initiative 2117, the initiative to allow more pollution in Washington? See for yourself. It's a clown car of far-right anti-climate millionaires. This race comes down to right-wing millionaires versus everyday Washingtonians. And that really struck me because I seem to remember that almost 500,000 regular Washingtonians signed Initiative 2117. Oh, that's right, yes. 472,000 regular Washingtonians signed Initiative 2117 to get it on the ballot in November. You know how many regular Washingtonians have donated to the campaign to try to stop it? 194, including Bill Gates. So tell me again, Jay Inslee, how this comes down to right-wing millionaires who hate the climate versus everyday Washingtonians. He is taking his climate grift to the very end because he's worried about his legacy. He's worried about his own paycheck after he leaves office. It has nothing to do with whether the CCA is actually good policy.